shelter in a driftwood fort, a wind, so we're going outside to paint again today, and I'm thinking we're going to the beach. There's a couple that I'm thinking about doing, but there's one specifically with a lighthouse and everything that I think would make a really pretty painting, so I'm gonna try and do that one. The one obstacle of the day is it is raining, which is not necessarily a hard no when it comes to painting outside. It just might complicate things only a little bit. And honestly, the thing that I'm worried about most is my camera. So the biggest obstacle here is going to be figuring out how to strap an umbrella to my tripod so that you can actually see what I'm doing out in the field. It's 8 o'clock now. I think that the weather report said that that was the time that the rain was supposed to be at its heaviest. So I think that from here on out, we should have still rain, but more of a drizzle. I don't mind getting wet, but I don't want my technology to get wet. So we're gonna give this a go and see what we can do. But you know what? It's gonna be wonderful and a beautiful day. Who doesn't love a moody, rainy painting? So let's go see what we can find. I do have an image in mind of the spot that I want to go to, but I wouldn't mind also just looking around the location and seeing if there is a spot that inspires me in a different way. So let's go. Let's get out there, and then we'll just do the usual. I'll set up my paints, paint as much as I can on site, weather dependent and all that. We might come back to the studio, but let's hope we can get as much work as possible done out there, and then we'll finish up and I'll show you the end result. I have no idea if this will actually work. I feel like there's a very good chance that I actually put the camera on it and the umbrella blocks so that it'll be in frame like that. So I don't know. Okay, I found a bit of shelter in a driftwood fort because I'm trying to think of what to do. The side of the beach that I really wanted to paint on is right now the windy side of the beach. I could go back to around the corner where the wind's a little less strong, but I have one more idea. There's a kind of a little trail that runs along the back side of the beach, and especially at this time of year, it can be really pretty. I might walk down the beach a little farther just to see if there's any change in the wind or anything like that. It's mainly the wind because it blows rain into, like, it's blowing the rain sideways into the camera and everything. So I don't know how well my umbrella masking taped to my tripod would work, because masking tape is not necessarily, I mean, it's a painter's tape. It's not the most sturdy tape to use, so, but I like this side of the beach. It's always a little bit more private, so, we're gonna see if we can figure it out. I think I found a spot. It's on the trail that's behind the beach, so It's not going to show the water or anything, but it's a really pretty little meandering path through all of these bushes that have berries on them, and I just kind of feel like it could make a really pretty painting. So we're going to do that, and then if I have time afterwards, I might go paint something of the water. It's just that it's so windy and it's so rainy right now. I don't want like rain blowing sideways. Back here I have a little bit of shelter from all of that wind, so yeah, let's see what we can come up with here. I'm gonna head home. I was gonna maybe paint a second painting, but the rain seems to persist, so I'm drenched in rain. My jeans are completely soaked through. I was maybe thinking about going and doing another painting, but honestly, the rain has been, this is the first time that it's been letting up just a little bit, but otherwise the rain has been just super downpoury. I just got back from the beach and all of my stuff is laying out drying because it got so wet out there. It was crazy. It was pouring down. It's still raining. It actually paused for a little while. I paused just now to go dry it off and have some lunch and stuff, but it was pouring down rain on that side of the beach. And what I mean by that side of the beach is it's like a point, so one side is usually less windy than the other, and today the side that I wanted to go to was crazy windy and crazy rainy, but it kind of makes it exciting, so that was fun. I didn't end up painting the water, but I've always wanted to paint this scene here. Whenever I've walked on that path, I've always been like, oh my gosh, like this little tunnel is so beautiful, and so, you know, it all worked out because this really has been a spot that's been on my mind for many years, and being able to do it in the rain, and specifically this time of year, I love this path. Like, it's gorgeous. All of these bushes are rose bushes, wild roses, and they smell like unbelievable in the spring and summer. But at this time of year, they turn into these like berries, like the fruit of the rose. And they're bright red and it's beautiful, and I feel like whenever I go there in the fall, it just smells like fall, and it is, if you know the scent of like blackberries and shrubs and wet dirt and rain, like that smell was so strong today, so it really worked out. I'm really excited to continue this painting. I have a few notes for what I want to do now that we're in the studio. Firstly, one thing that's very obvious is we need to define some of these plants, the shrubs on the sides here. Some of the plants and trees and things I'll leave as just a bit of a suggestion, but I think that it would be really good to be very intentional with just making sure that there are some blades of grass and berries and little things like that here and there that add some definition, so that it's not just, right now it's kind of at a stage where it's just a lot of splotches of paint and not any detail at all, which is great. This is the end of the color blocking phase. It's where it's supposed to be. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna add that detail. Next, I would like to solidify the color palette. I really like what's going on right now so far. There's this kind of more light rust color that is in some of the trees and leaves. And then on the sides here, there was actually quite a bit of like a cooler gray with all of the twigs. And then up top was this more warm color of the berries. And so I think that's really pretty. Right now we have some purples and oranges and this really warm green. But I just want to mess around with it a little bit more, make it a little bit more intentional. Next, I would love to bring lots of attention to this circle right here. That's going to be our focal point. I really want to spend some time making sure that I've got it right and that it feels like it's the right distance away. I would like to push this dark section here on either side a little bit more than it was in real life, and continue that shadow around to the bottom and just really define this pathway deep in the tunnel area. But I feel like if we can get that section here down really well, then we'll be good to go. And then the last thing I would like to do is the trees from basically here up. I want to cool them down in color and maybe lighten them up in value, just so that they look like they're farther back, because this whole section of trees up here, it was pretty far back. So that's my plan for this one. I think that it's got some good bones right now, and I'm kind of excited about this one. I feel like this is gonna be one of my favorites. All right, let's get this finished and wrapped up. It could be argued that I should have stopped here at this point, but I did not do that. I saw where I was at and all the little brush marks that I was making, and it really felt busy to me. I wanted the painting to feel like it had a little bit more depth, and I wanted it to feel less busy, and the color palette to be more unified. So I kept working on it. I even brought it onto Procreate and I started reworking it digitally just so that I could play with it without using any more paint, not adding more layers onto the canvas, which is a really great tool. And I do feel like I found another direction using this tool. So here's the image that I had come up with. It's a little bit more cool toned. The background is even more pushed back. It's more light in tone. It feels farther away. I feel like the depth reads a little bit more here. And then it's a better balance of detail versus just obscured color. So that was the direction I wanted to go with it. I took it back into the studio and I used this reference image to keep working on the painting. After wrestling with it for quite a while, I wound up here, which is very different from what it was before, and even different from the digital mock-up that I made. So I actually am pleased with where it ended up. I feel like the colors are more unified. I think the balance of detail is a lot more fully realized. I think that there's obscured brush marks, and then there are little blades of grass and a suggestion of branches and things like that. There may be things that I would change about this painting, but I think that my efforts will be better placed on another future painting and not reworking this painting as it is now. So I'll put up a side-by-side of the two different options for how it could have ended, and you can let me know which one you prefer better. Do you like it before I reworked it, or do you like it after I reworked it? Honestly, I do think that I like it after I reworked it better than before I reworked it, only because I think that it just as a whole looks more unified and purposeful. But the painting before I reworked it definitely was more true to what I saw in real life. Either way, working through these challenges is all a part of the painting process and the learning process. I'm definitely learning with every new painting. So I hope that you enjoy watching me go through that learning process. I definitely enjoy sharing it with you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.